Hey there, it's David H. Lawrence, the 17th, and I probably have a good idea how many times a day you look at your phone and you say, "What's that number?" I mean, it looks like it's in my neighborhood, but I don't know. Well, let me hold on one sec. And it's a robocall, right? Or a number that like is coming from Wyoming somewhere, or even has odd numbers of digits. It turns out that according to the FCC, we receive over 5 billion robocalls a month, and it's projected to get worse unless something's done about it. And I wanted to talk to you about that today because we've been through this once before. We've been through this with spam. We know how spammers operate, and it turns out that robocallers are taking a page from black hat spammer. All spammers are to a degree black hat, but I mean the really egregious ones. They're taking a page from their playbook. So I wanted to share with you some advice that I learned from reading a couple of articles and also talking to a representative from the FTC. The FTC and the FCC both share sort of overview over this problem because the FCC handles the technical standards and the legal requirements of the phone system, and the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, as opposed to the Federal Communications Commission, the Federal Trade Communications, here, this is all in the United States. And a lot of this stuff comes from overseas. But the FTC is in charge of consumer protection. So they are working together, oddly enough. What? Two government agencies actually working together? Yeah. So remember when we all started getting spam and there were these unsubscribe buttons, and we would unsubscribe from the spam, I'm using air quotes. And then we found out, oddly enough, that did nothing. It actually made things worse because when you clicked on that unsubscribe button, that would tell the spammer that you were a live human being and that you actually were getting the emails. And so they would send you more spam. So think about what happens when you get a robocall, either from a live person or from, like, there's a overseas concern that represents themselves as U.S. Pharmacy. They're live callers, live people in a boiler room somewhere in a foreign country. And, I've asked them a million times, like literally 100, 150 times they've called since the beginning of the year. So that means like several times a day. And occasionally I'll pick up the phone and there'll be this pause and you'll hear the boiler room in the background. They're waiting for you to talk or to see if you're a recorded message. And before they even get a chance to say anything, I'll say, "Is this U.S. Pharmacy?" "Yes." "Great. Could you take me off your list?" And then I'll hang up because I know they won't. They won't. They don't have to. They're outside the bounds of our country. But for robocallers that operate within the United States, they give you sometimes the opportunity to press one button to be connected with an operator to talk about, getting your credit card interest down or getting erectile dysfunction pills or whatever they're selling you. And another button, if you wait long enough, usually through the entire message, press the 2 key to be placed on our do not call list. And you think, "Oh, great." And you press the 2 key. Yeah. So about that, it doesn't put you on their do not call list. Because most of the people operating robocall, most of the organizations operating robocall ventures pay no attention to what you tell them, even though they're supposed to. It's federal law. And if you go to a website called donotcall.gov, you can place both your landline, if you still have one, and certainly your mobile phone on the national do not call list, which all marketing firms are supposed to respect in terms of not calling the numbers on that list. Do we think they do? No. Most of them ignore it completely. So you can do it, and the people that do abide by the laws, you won't hear from them. But it's always the people that don't abide by the law that make these controls useless, right? So, but I would, again, let me just summarize by saying I would not press that button because that in turn tells them you're a live person, and they'll call back again if they're nefarious. However, there is technology on the way, both from the FTC and the FCC, and it's kind of interesting. It's called Stir/Shake It. And for those of you that are James Bond fans, you know, that's what they're wrapping that acronym around. And it's a set of technologies that does two things. Number one, it helps to confirm that the number that shows up on your screen isn't being spoofed as another number. It's actually the number of the party that's calling, and also creating a list of known robocall spammers that you can subscribe to and prevent those calls from coming to your phone in the first place. So it's both a carrot and a stick approach, and it's supposed to be rolled out in the next couple of years. We'll see what happens. The FTC and the FCC are very excited about it. And so are the carriers. The problem is the carriers are all disparate. They all have to work together. If it was just old Ma Bell, you know, the old Bell system, they could flip a switch and take care of this, right? But because it's all these different companies that have to cooperate, and there's law involved, there's federal regulations involved. So my advice to you is, number one, if you don't recognize the number, resist the urge to answer the phone. And number two, don't respond to their offer of removing you from their list by pressing a particular key on your phone, because chances are it won't work. It'll just make things worse. So, have any horror stories you'd like to share with me in terms of getting robocalled on an excessive level? I sometimes like to have fun with, maybe I'll do another video on what I do sometimes when I have the time when somebody calls. But I wonder what you do about robocalls, and if they're as frustrating to you as they are to me. Go ahead and let me know in the comments below. I'd really appreciate it. If you'd like to join my channel, it's not a robocall channel, but on YouTube, to be notified when these videos come out. We're doing one a day for the next 365 days, or the 365 days in this year. I've got a head for you to click on. Go ahead and click on. If there's no head there, there's a subscribe button that you'll be able to find on the page. If you want to see the latest video that I've done, there's a frame there. Maybe there's a frame there. You can click on it, and it'll play the latest video for you. I'm David H. Lawrence, the 17th. I sure hope you're having fun with these videos. I am. And I thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.